Hello there everybody, it is me XFreezerBunny and welcome back to part 3 of The Sims 4 speed building the Waddesdon Manor. This is the third and final part of this 3-part speed build series and I'm so excited to actually wrap up this part in this video. So in this video, we're going to be doing the rest of the interior, mostly on the second level, and also decorating the landscape, which is actually one of my favorite things to do in The Sims 4, as I mention all the time in my videos. So hopefully you guys are having fun so far. If you're still here, then thank you for sticking through all 3 videos. Let me know how many videos you've already watched, and if you watched all of them, then I love you so much, okay? Anyway, if you guys have not seen the previous 2 videos, then what are you doing here? No, I'm kidding. I will put links to those in the description below, as well as the house tour video, which is the 4th video in the series to show off all the new things that we did in the house as well. Okay, so yeah, I actually just finished doing a live stream with a couple of friends of mine, so my voice is a little bit tired, and yeah, it's a little bit tired, to be honest, but I really wanted to do this recording so that I can finish up this build and get started on a new one. That's how excited I am, and also that's how inspired I am as well. So right now we're working on the 1 bedroom that has 2 double beds. This bedroom, I had the idea of making it the kids' bedroom in a way. So the colors are very light, you know, it has that really nice kind of omelet color, or like really nice cream color, which I really like. I tried to fit in a dollhouse actually, but that did not make it in the end because I could not find a great place to put it, and it just really didn't match the colors that I wanted it, which is too bad because I really wanted to include that dollhouse because it reminded me a lot of the house. You guys know what I'm talking about. One thing that I have an issue with the dollhouses in The Sims 4 is that why do they have to be so freaking big? Like seriously, who has dollhouses that are that big? Like I have a cousin and she has dollhouses, of course, like any other girl, but she has like really small ones or like really good size ones, like they're the size of my monitor or like they're the size of my laptop or something like that. So anyway, it's just really weird how we have really big doll houses in this game. So yeah, anyway, like I said, hopefully you guys are having fun so far. I do try my best to make my videos as entertaining as I can. So if you guys have any idea as to how I can make my videos more entertaining, if you guys want me to talk about things specifically, just let me know in the comments below and I will try to implement it in my next video, okay? By the time doing this recording, it's currently 6 a.m. On Monday, what date is? It's August 8th, so I'm not sure when you guys are going to be watching this, but I did a live stream with my friends a couple of hours ago in the early morning, and I'm really tired. They asked me to join them. They sent me links to their live stream on YouTube, and I was more than happy to participate. Yeah, I'm just trying to kind of explain to you guys if I sound all over the place or if my voice sounds really weird. I was talking with my friends a while back, so that's that. Right now we are decorating the room, which is supposed to be the billiards room. Now the thing is, we don't have any billiards in The Sims 4 yet. Billiards or pool, it's called different in other countries, but I did decide to incorporate this foosball because that was the closest thing I could find for a billiard, and that's probably one of the most difficult rooms that I had to furnish because I wanted to fit in 2 pieces of furniture, specifically the foosball table as well as the gaming table that came with the Sims 4 get together. But I had so much trouble with the layout of it. I just did not know how to lay it out properly. But in the end, I did figure out a great layout for it without making it look too all over the place. And also, when I'm thinking of layout, I think about how the people would play it as. So basically, when I'm thinking of the furniture layout for a specific room, I think about how would people play this in their game. Because usually, you know, many people, of course, play things differently. I personally like to play from the inside facing out because I want to see the walls. So that's kind of the orientation that I always take. It's from the inside facing out. So I can see the walls, the exterior walls. I think this is probably the final layout of it, but you guys just saw me take a lot of time with this. Once again, we have like a million different display cabinets because Waddesdon was built to display Baron Ferdinand de Rothschild's collection of French fine art. I will not stop talking about that because I'm not sure how many people watched the previous parts, so I do try to remind you guys about the story and about the house itself. So, speaking of story, Waddesdon was built in the late 1800s in the French Renaissance Revival style. That is a mouthful. That is a style that's very popular in the 1800s, revival style in general. I talked about it in my previous video, especially the first part, but if you guys want to see that, or if you guys want to hear more of that, just go ahead and check out the first part. I talked about revival style architecture and Victorian architecture in general. There's no such thing as Victorian architecture. And my history of architecture professor told me that there's no such thing as Victorian architecture. It's basically just architecture that happened during the Victorian era, and there's a lot of them. You know, there's neoclassical, there's Art Nouveau, there's eclectic style, and all of these different styles. So there's Gothic revival, Renaissance revival, and all these other things. So yeah. Also, one thing that I also want to point out is that Waddesdon has an extra wing called the bachelor's wing, which I wasn't able to incorporate in this home because I did not have enough space for it, unfortunately. So some of the rooms, some of the important rooms in the bachelor's wing are in this area over here, which I don't know how this area is decorated in real life, but based off of the floor plans that I have of Waddesdon, those areas are probably empty or are probably renovated already. So I incorporated rooms that are part of the bachelor's rooms in that empty area to the left of the building. And right now we are furnishing one of the toilets in this room. I believe this is the toilet for the fountain bedroom. The fountain bedroom is named the fountain bedroom because it's overlooking the fountain area, which you guys will see us actually put in this home as we decorate the landscape a little bit later on. So yay. The bathrooms, all of it has the exact same furniture. Some bathrooms have more furniture, like some bathrooms, if they're big enough, I tried to place a screen, and other bathrooms I also placed in some toiletry cabinets and stuff like that, just to give it a little bit of diversity as well. And you guys can also see me place in these palm trees as well to fill in the spaces because I feel like they look really great. And I always see these in Victorian homes, the way they would display their tropical plants. Tropical plants were a big luxury in Victorian homes, and you will see very, very popular motifs like pineapples, for example. Pineapples used as finials or as, you know, or as like decorative elements. And that is to show off, you know, the tropical plants, which are very, very rare and very, very expensive, especially in countries which have a similar climate to the United Kingdom, where Waddesdon is located at. I'm very, very happy to see that many of my British Shimmers friends approve of this building, and that's like the best thing that can ever happen. When I try to recreate a home that is supposed to be from another country, every time I see a comment from a person from that country, it just makes me so happy. And right now we're furnishing the final bedroom of the home. This is the 6th bedroom, and this bedroom has some beautiful kind of very deep red color for the wallpaper, which matches the floor as well. I only use one carpet, and that is the red carpet. But yeah. Anyway, I imagine this bedroom to be the bedroom of an elderly person. Maybe it could even be like the mother and father of the owner of the house. You know, they could live here and retire pretty much. I made sure that they had everything they need in this bedroom, so I will put in a nice little desk and also a nice little a bookshelf as well, so that they don't have to go far. You know, they don't have to walk all the way to the library, or they don't have to walk all the way to the office to write letters or to read books. You know, I made sure that everything that they need is accessible to them in this one bedroom. And also, since I had in mind the parents of the owner, I thought the placement of this room, particularly close to the Baron's bedroom, is also really nice, so that they can kind of spend some time together without having to walk really far. So yeah. Anyway, and they also have their own toilet as well, which once again uses the exact same furniture as every other toilet in this home. There are 6 full bathrooms and there's 1 half bathroom in this build. So, yeah. And right now we are working on the toilet for the Baron as well. And this is the upper floor of the tower drawing room. And then I believe, yeah, it's basically I take it back. This is not the second floor of the tower drawing room. This is the armory. Okay, excuse me, I'm all over the place. The tower drawing room, the second floor of it is the dining room, or like the blue dining room. So this one is the armory, and it's completely different from the armory in Waddesdon, because the armory in Waddesdon looks more like a hallway, and this is literally a separate room that I kind of designated to be the armory itself. I actually really like how that room turned out, and to give it a little bit of a function, I threw in that gaming table that came with, I'm not sure where it came with, but yeah, I threw in that one gaming table to make it function. And there's an extra room over here right next to the hallway. I did not know what I wanted to do for that room, so I just threw in a couple of display cabinets and a couple of luggage as well, just to make it look like it had some actual use to it as well. So yeah. And that is the smoking room, by the way, the room that we just furnished right there. This hallway actually turned out really, really dark, but I just left it as is because I didn't know where to place like some good lights. So yeah. In the real life Waddesdon Manor, based on the floor plan that I have, this room is called the long room, but you guys can see that I actually divided it into multiple rooms. The other half of it is the elderly person's bedroom, and the other half of it is basically like a family room / library reading area. There's like a ton of things that they can do in this room. So yeah. And I also went consistent with my choice of furniture as well. Just some very luxurious looking sofas that fit the epoch of when this mansion was built, and also a couple of clutter items as well. You guys can see me do a lot of clutter in these intimate spaces, you know, the bedrooms and the family rooms. There's definitely a lot of clutter, and the layout of it is more informal as well, compared to some other rooms like the main dining room or the main reception area, which has a more formal and rigid layout, which reflects the formality of the rooms as well. So yeah. I really, really like the deep reds in this room, actually. I think it looks very Victorian. And if it's one color that I really wish we had, I would like to have a really deep green color, because I always see that in Victorian in Victorian homes as well, that deep green wallpaper. I really, really would like to have a color like that as well. And of course, I threw in a nice little screen in one side to fill up the space as well. And I think I also threw in an easel somewhere there, or maybe I took it out, I don't know. So yeah. Oh yeah, and there is this one corner tower area over here. I really didn't know what to do, so I went ahead and just threw in a nice little easel. Hopefully the Sims can use it, because I feel like this would be a perfect secluded space to, do some painting, it does have like a 360-degree view of the neighboring, of like the gardens that are surrounding it. So that room is a perfect place to do some painting. And right now we are finally working on the landscaping. And you guys know how much I enjoy landscaping in The Sims 4 more than I do in any other Sims games. It's just so much fun. And you guys can see me start off the landscaping by doing the work that requires a lot of precision. So specifically, these pathways are so precise to a tile. They are as precise as I could possibly make them, just because I wanted it to look really, really manicured and, and really well cared for. If I remember correctly, based on a video I watched about Waddesdon Manor, there are a total, at one point in its existence, there was a total of 80 gardeners that worked on Waddesdon. Can you guys believe it? 80 gardeners, 80. How insane is that? That's just so much. Like, can you even imagine 80 people living in a home? Granted, they probably didn't even live in Waddesdon. They probably lived in cottages nearby, but I cannot fathom the idea of having 80 gardeners in a single home. It's just crazy to me. Anyway, so yeah, once again, just carrying on with the rigidness of these pathways. I just really liked how precise they were, and they are really, really precise in real life as well. I chose this gravel in particular because I just love hearing that gravelly, crackly sound, if you guys get what I mean. When people in historical dramas walk on like gravelly, surfaces, they make these footsteps that sound really, really crunchy. And I kind of imagine The Sims taking walks and, promenading all over the place in these walkways. So yeah. I had so much fun actually layouting these pathways that I did not know that it took me a really, really long time. Being precise in The Sims 4 takes a lot of time. Actually, anywhere being precise takes a lot of time. So, I think it just shows how much time I really put into this build, and I grown to love it. I already loved Waddesdon even before I decided to do this build, but when I did this build, I just loved it even more. And I felt like, I had a genuine connection to it. So, because I just put a lot of time and effort into this, specifically, I put a total of 10 hours. 10 hours in this build. 2 hours of those 10 hours is done only by doing the landscaping. So it's crazy. The landscaping in this build will cost your Sims a total of 100,000 simoleons, and then the entire thing will cost you 1,115,000 simoleons, depending on which lot you place this in. So it is a hefty dent in your Sims' pockets. Better be best friends with a move objects cheat, otherwise it will probably take your Sims 10 lifetimes to be able to afford this home. It's kind of sad that we don't have lottery anymore, because in The Sims 3 we had lottery and we can make big money from joining it, especially in Into the Future when you can kind of cheat the lottery. And right now I'm doing a very, very fun technique here where I am making these streaks of grass to make the lawn look all manicured and stuff. I've done these in many other builds before, but I think they're particularly effective when I use them here in Waddesdon because they look pretty legit. That's really how they have it in real life. So I think it actually turned out really well. And just finishing off with these precisely curved pathways over here so that they look like they are, laid out to perfection by the 80 gardeners. I still cannot get over the fact that this home had 80 gardeners. So yeah. Another thing that took a lot of time with the landscaping is these parterres. Parterres are a French, were popularized by the French, and these are actually planter beds. The oldest parterre that I can kind of remember is the parterre from the Chateau de Viandry in the Loire Valley. A very, very famous chateau, famous for its gardens as well. So yeah. Anyway, I don't know the history of the parterre. That's the only thing that I can kind of remember about it. But the function of these parterres are actually to enhance the buildings and not necessarily for for taking walks in, because you really couldn't appreciate it when you are in the ground level. But parterres are very much appreciated you can appreciate the parterres from an upper floor. So you guys can see that many of the important bedrooms in this home are overlooking this parterre, because that's the point of parterres. It's to enhance the building and not for taking strolls in. So yeah, I also put a lot of time into this because I just wanted it to be absolutely perfect. So yeah, I love how the parterres have a very, very special shape to them as well. I think it really does complement, the style of the building. It is a French chateau after all. So I do appreciate the fact that they also did some French style landscaping, because this type of landscaping right now that we're about to do is continental European. I think that's the best way for me to describe it. English style gardens are more, naturalistic, I guess. They were popularized in the 18th century, and they, let's see here. Yeah, they're very naturalistic. They're very organic, and they are very, very much in contrast with what was happening and what was popular in the continent. Cause continental, gardens, specifically French style gardens, were very, very ornate, very geometric, and very, very choreographed, I guess. I think the French were perfectionists when it comes to their landscaping, because literally they would trim each tree, each bush would be shaped geometrically. So yeah. So basically, Waddesdon exhibits kind of both, actually, in my opinion. It exhibits both types of gardens. We have the parterre over here, which is very French, but at the same time, the gardens that are surrounding the home are actually very English in style. Because English gardens, as mentioned earlier, are very, are very naturalistic. It looks like you really didn't put any effort in designing them, but that's actually far from the truth, because English gardens are also very well choreographed, specifically to look like they were done effortlessly. So that's the main difference of it. And I'm really happy to see that Waddesdon has both examples in its grounds. So yeah. And right here, I'm just trying to experiment with some shapes in the parterre. Initially, I was gonna go for some squiggly lines, if that makes any sense. But I did decide to make it a little bit more geometric and symmetrical in the end, because, I just went for it. It is a French garden, so I did push the symmetry of it. So yeah. And I will actually use some, let's see here. I will actually use some terrain paint to serve as guides. That's how obsessed I am of getting the symmetry right. Don't worry though, I will get rid of those streaks of gravel, once I'm done with these, once I'm done plopping in these flowers. I just use them as guides, and I will turn them into grass in just a little bit as well. So yeah. I don't even know what shape that is. I just went with it. It's kind of similar from what they have in real life. So yeah, I really, really like how the parterres look. I feel like they look really unique, and I feel like they are a great complement to the home, especially, looking at it from the upper levels of the house. They look absolutely gorgeous. So yay. And also there's that nice little fountain in the middle where you guys can actually sit, your guys' Sims can actually sit on. That fountain is actually a chair more than it is a fountain, apparently. So yeah. And over here, I am placing in these ivy trellises attached to the wall of that one tower, because that's how they have it in Waddesdon as well. They do have some ivy trellises attached to the rear wall of that tower. So like I mentioned earlier, the landscaping in Waddesdon exhibits kind of an eclectic mix of both French and English style gardens. So that's also reflected in my choice of plants. Once again, I went with plants that are very geometric in shape. So you guys can see most of the flowers that I chose are very geometric. They're very specifically cut to be circular and stuff. They're very manicured, but the layout of them and the placement of them, I did try to make it as organic as I can, in squiggly lines and lines that look like amoebas and stuff. Oh, I actually changed that fountain. I forgot. I love this fountain. It came with Get Together, and it's gorgeous. I love it especially because it matches the stonework on the exterior of the house. It matches to a T. It really, really looks great. And that fountain is also huge as well, and also very detailed. I love the caryatids that are carrying that bowl of the fountain. If you guys don't know what a caryatid is, it's a column that is shaped like a human being. The best example of a caryatid is one from ancient Greece. The Erectrium building in the Parthenon exhibits caryatids of the ancient world, and they were once again very, very popular during the Victorian period. There are many Victorian homes that have caryatids actually. Even in my country, the Philippines, we have many ancestral homes that were built during the 1800s that have caryatids because they were that popular. Once again, caryatids are columns that are shaped like human beings. They look like they're carrying the weight of the home. So yeah, I was talking about how I went for an organic layout of the rest of the landscaping, and you guys can see me kind of make it here. Very, very squiggly and very randomly placed, but using very geometric plants. So it's kind of a mixture of both, as I mentioned earlier. And I really, really like the choice of the flowers actually, because I think the colors of them really complement each other. I also tried my best to choose some nice trees as well, because usually that can make or break your landscaping. It's really difficult to balance your choice of trees, because they can obstruct the view of the house. And that is not a good thing, because you put so much effort on the facade of the house and on the exterior, and then you're just gonna cover it up with a bunch of trees, and that is a big no-no for me. So you guys can see me really take my time with layouting and choosing these trees so that it would complement the home and not cover all the effort that I put into the facade. So I'm so happy that I used those cherry blossom trees, those pink trees. I think they bring in a nice splash of color into an otherwise very, very narrow color scheme that we have. And I also chose that one tree that has like a slightly yellowish color to the leaves of it. I really like that as well. I think it looks really great. And once again, really great compliment to the rest of this build. Yeah. Also, most of the trees that I chose actually have very, very low leaves and branches. I don't know how to describe that type of tree, but it has very low leaves and branches. I always see them in British homes, where trees you barely can see the trunk of the tree because the leaves and the branches are very low lying. So I tried to use those as a reference as well. So for the lighting, I love the lighting. This thing illuminates absolutely gorgeous at night. Initially, I went very specific with where I wanted to place the lights. I was very strict with myself as to where I placed the lights, but eventually I was just like, okay, you know what? It really doesn't matter. I'm just gonna place lights where I feel like they should be placed. If it's a little bit dark in that area, I threw in some lights. So yeah. There really wasn't a science to it in the end, but initially you guys can see me like put extra effort in measuring where they're supposed to be, but like halfway through it I was like, okay, I kind of messed this up and I don't want to go back on myself. At the end of the day, it lights up the building, and I think that's what's important. But honestly though, I wish we had the option to light up the building without the use of these wall sconces, because as much as I like how they light up the building, I do not like how they are so visible from the outside. Like you can see them all over the place, and I don't necessarily like that. Usually these buildings would be lit by like a couple of really, really bright kind of stadium lights, or like, like cinema lights and stuff like that. But of course, we don't have the option in The Sims, so we instead have to place in 1,000,001 of these exterior lighting, which I don't mind at the end of the day. As long as it lights up the place, then that's what's important to me. But I just don't like seeing 1,000,000 lights all over the facade, because I feel like it clutters it a little bit. You know, it's a little bit too much to look at. But, you know, once again, it looks great at night. And that's one thing that I really, really do love about The Sims 4 is that how beautiful it is when it's lighting up at night. So yeah. You know what? I just wish that the lighting would actually carry on into the roof, because you guys can see that the light affects the walls, the columns, the windows, the doors, and all the items in build mode. But when it comes to the roof, it doesn't really affect it, so you really don't see the roof light up at night. So, you know, I kind of wish that something would happen with that, because you guys can see me really do try to light up the roof, but you know, it just doesn't reflect the light. So that's kind of unfortunate, but you know what? That's okay. Nothing we can do about that. I think it's probably embedded within the system in The Sims 4, so whatever. And over here we have some nice little plant accents. I wanted to have some smaller type of foliage just to bring it a little bit, just to give it a little bit more of a variety when it came to the scale of it. So I chose these because once again, they're a very nice geometric shape and we already use them all over the build as well in the parterre. So I felt like they were a great complement. So yeah. And yeah, even the trees actually light up really, really nicely at night. That they look really great. And yeah, you know, we will be putting some lighting fixtures in a little bit. Over here we have some urns, decorative urns that have some flowers in them, which is also really nice. I think they are a great classical piece to complement such a very beautifully designed garden in my opinion. So yeah, I also threw in a bunch of other, you know, urns with flowers all over the place, specifically near doorways. So basically to the left and to the right of every doorway that leads to the outside, there are these nice little flower areas. And then we are finally incorporating some lighting here. So each of these urns has a light underneath of it. So that it kind of lights up itself. And also I added in these lights that came with the base game. These are probably my favorite light. I use these lights all over the all the time in my builds. They light up the place really, really well. The only problem I have with those lights is that they looked a little bit too modern. So I did choose an extra type of light to place in more visible areas. These lights over here that we're placing right now look a little bit more appropriate in a Victorian themed home. So I really like those. And then for the other spots where you couldn't see the lights anymore, I decided to go with that more modern looking one just because it gave off more light as well. So, you know, really, really nice mix of bright lights to illuminate this place at night. Great to, you know, maybe propose to someone or whatever. I think it's a great area. Really, really romantic. I had a really difficult time lighting up the front of the lawn. You guys can see where it has the striped grass because I did not know where else to put the lights. So you guys can see that it is a little bit dim at night in that area, but the back actually illuminates really, really nicely at night. So I'm really, really happy with how the lighting works for the landscaping, especially during the back, at the back actually, because it looks really, really awesome. And then I also plopped in some seating areas all over the garden for the Sims to take a break if they get tired of walking. But it looks like this speed build is coming to an end, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up my commentary right here. Once again, don't forget to check out the other 3 videos in this series. I will put links to that in the description below as usual, okay? Hopefully you guys had fun watching this build. Thank you so much for watching. You all have an awesome, awesome, awesome day, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.